Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, stomping grounds of over 5 million tourists annually, coming from all over the world to witness for themselves the Amish lifestyle, and of course, to go shopping. As part of their stay, many tourists end up in Lancaster City, a city with a rich history dating back to colonial times. There is an important place, however, that is not a stop along the tourist visit to Lancaster, South Ann Street, a place many of the county's 600,000 residents have never been, a place many people only recognize from headlines, filled with stories of drugs, shootings, and gang violence. The South Ann community is composed of much more than the violence flooding front-page headlines. It is a community full of people concerned about their families, their neighbors, and their children. It is a place where many families' lives are governed by low-income situations, contributing to continuing problems in the community. 1990 marked a high point of violence in the neighborhood.
About 9 years ago, things in the city were getting really bad. This was prior to the neighborhood policing and community policing. The drug issue was not being addressed in the city at all. It had pretty much been swept under the rug, and let's ignore the problem and it'll go away, and of course that never happens.
In the middle of the South Ann community stands Washington Elementary School, the largest of 13 elementary schools in the Lancaster School District. Built in 1932, the school has been a part of many changes in the South Ann community over the years. Since joining the school as principal in 1992, Dr. Jeanette Hewitt has been instrumental in working towards positive change in the school and community.
Teachers, would you reiterate?
Unfortunately, the news captures those worst parts of the neighborhood. They aren't untrue. Those kinds of things do exist here, but they aren't what this community is all about. Not by any stretch of the imagination. What this community is about what you would want in your own community, in your own family. It's about living in a way that allows you to have a productive life and a creative life.
The parents are real fearful, and I can't help but believe that that's passed to the kids. I mean, the kids have told me so. I often will have kids draw pictures of what did you do on the weekend, and I've had pictures of they'll be drawing a sidewalk in a house and there's somebody standing with it shooting a gun, because that's what they saw.
Many of the youngsters who come here experience in their neighborhood a good deal of violence, physical, mental, emotional kind of violence, which is largely or almost entirely a function of relative poverty. So, and they bring those kinds of experiences with them. It's on their minds, it's in their hearts. It's what they see as model kind of behavior. Some children who are exposed to violence of various kinds internalize it, others externalize it. What I mean very simply is some children turn it inward and they become very withdrawn, even depressed, very anxious, and other kids externalize it. They act out. They act in a aggressive manner towards other kids.
The first few years I was here, this office was vandalized, the door was beaten in, things were stolen. The outside of the building had graffiti, but I took a strong stance in this community and asked the community to join with me to find who was doing it and to press charges and to take a stand and say, this is a safe haven and you will not destroy it.
The problems facing Hewitt are daunting. When she first arrived, 2 major fights per day were occurring on the school grounds. She knew that she needed to get the children's behavior under control for learning to take place. The first 2 years, she and the staff tried various approaches with varying results. In Hewitt's 3rd year, the emotional support teacher brought to her attention the Girls and Boys Town model of education. Hewitt applied for a grant, received it, and began the training process with her staff in 1995.
What I've grown to understand about this program is that it offers more than simply helping kids behave. It's teaching them skills for life. So it's an education model. And that's what makes it different than most other models. You can be coercive. You can have power over kids. You can force them to do what you want them to do in the short run. But what you do in the long run is make them more angry and make them more frustrated and make them wanting to fight back.
The Girls and Boys Town education model grew out of the Boys Town Children's Home in Nebraska. Started in 1917 by Father Flanagan, the home was a place to deal with the unwanted problem children in the community and quickly grew to house over 1,300 children within 4 years of its inception. The Girls and Boys Town education model is made up of 3 key components: a school-wide social skills curriculum made up of 16 basic skills, a proactive classroom behavior management system assisting teachers and support staff in teaching students the social skills curriculum, and an administrative intervention process that gives administrators a consistent, systematic way to deal with serious or continuing discipline problems.
At the beginning of the year, they have social skills notebooks, and we go over different social skills each day. We write down the steps, for example, following instructions. You look at the person, you say, okay, you do it right away, and you check back. They've written those into their notes. We role play those in front of the classroom.
They're taught how to greet people when they come in the door. They're taught how to accept no for an answer. And it's taught just like reading is or math is. So it's like academic instruction in social skills. What distinguishes the Boys Town program is that it also teaches teachers interaction skills. So when you come across problem behaviors, how to work through a series of steps to work through the problem by describing what the problem behavior is and then replacing it with an alternative, checking for understanding, feedback, practice, a whole sequence of interaction steps.
It really puts the responsibility of their behavior back on them because they're responsible for the choices they make and they have to suffer the consequences. The communication is a big thing, making them see what choices they're making. Were they good choices?
It taught me not to get pulled in by their control because that's one thing. You see a child and they're struggling, it wasn't me, and they're fussing back and forward. And sometimes you can get caught in it, especially if you've seen it and they're saying, I didn't do it. Well, with Boys Town training, it really allows you to be that third party.
Some of the children come in and when you tell them no, that they can't do something, they throw themselves on the floor and scream and kick and say that's not fair. And that may have been something they've been doing for years and years, but when I teach them another way to do it, a successful way, a way that gives them positive consequences instead of negative consequences, they do it. They'll look at me and say, okay, may I ask why? And they see success with that because they see good things happening to them.
If a student continues to make bad choices on a regular basis, the administrative intervention system kicks in. The student is referred to the office and works with an administrator, going through a series of steps. The end product is a contract created by the student describing what choice they made and what better choice they could have made. The student then apologizes to the person or people who were affected by their bad choice.
Before Boys Town, it was straight from the office or referred by the teacher, and I will get them. All of us wasn't talking the same language as having the model, and that has helped a lot because we have seen a change in the children's behavior.
The language is so specific, and you're really telling kids exactly what you like or what they need to improve, and it really provides them with a lot of feedback that they can use instead of just saying good job or I don't like what you're doing.